Hello and welcome to Stampin' on the Hill. Thanks for joining me for the February class. I'm Deb Keyes. I'm gonna just jump right in. Let's just get to it, right? Okay, let's see here. So we're using the banner sayings. Oh, you know what? Let me look at this a minute. Here we go. Okay. Not that you really need to see me, but sometimes it's nice to be able to watch my funky facial expressions because sometimes they're doozies. Um, anyway, we're using the banner sayings, as I mentioned previously, I'm sure. Stamp set. This is a bundle. So the bundle is $38.50. It comes with the stamp set and this punch, which has 3 different punch options. So we're going to just jump right in and get going. So the first card that we are going to make is, let's see here. We've got, this is thick cardstock. I'm going to put the envelope out of the way for now. Move some of this stuff out of my way so we can see what we're doing here. Okay, so we are making, let's see, we're going to get this going because I'm going to emboss this. I'm using the Eyelet 3D folder for this. And I'm just going to line it up in here with my lines here. Actually, let's put some glasses on so I can actually see the line. That's good. Okay. That looks about good. Nope, it's crooked. I hate when it's crooked. Let's try again. All right. My hands, it is so cold in my craft room that my hands are so cold that I can't get my fingers to stick to the paper. They're so dry, they just slide right off. All right, I'm going to use my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. I'm going to run this through. I'll be right back. Okay. My machine's on the other side of the room, so I had to go grab it a second. But so we have this eyelet. Isn't that pretty? Can you see it? Yeah, that's pretty. So we've got that going on, and that is going to get layered onto our early espresso. And I like to, those of you who've been to classes before know that I always preach dry fitting everything first, just in case you make a mistake. You can like flip it over. So before we glue this down, let's decide which greeting we're going to use on the inside. Let's see, what do we want this to be? We could want this to be a, let's make it a birthday card. Well, you know what? Let's do Consider Yourself Hugged. I like that. This is my favorite, I think. My favorite one. All right, so what do we want on the inside? Let's see here. What does that one say? It'd be better if I looked at it this way, huh? Consider Yourself Hugged. I want that on the outside. And then on the inside, I'm going to put Sending My Love. How's that? All right. So we need to find that one. There it is. Okay. All right. We're off to a great start today, aren't we? All right. So that on there. And then I'm using Early Espresso ink as well. So we're going to ink this up just a bit. Just remember, tap, tap, tap. Don't smush. And then That works for me. And then on the outside, we're going to do this one. I just have a scrap here. Yours will look a little nicer. Consider yourself hugged. Here we go. That's about all the stamping we're really going to do. So even if you don't have the early espresso, you could use black, basic black. All right, so in case you're brand new to this, the punches come slimline like this, and that you can stack them up like this in a drawer if you want, and then you can see them, so you can stack them up back to back. I don't store mine this way because I like to be able to see what my options are like this. So there's a little lock here. So if you push this up, then it opens. And we like to use our punches, for the most part, we like to use them upside down, because that way you can make sure that you're centering. And I kind of did this backward because I'm right-handed, but so I'm squeezing just gently here. And trying to center it in here. I'm going to bring it down just a bit more. No. It just seems so, well, I guess that's about right. Okay. All right, and then we're going to squeeze all the way to do the punch, okay? So that's as much of that as we're doing. And then this is going to go, let's see, we can glue this together. So I haven't tried my glue today yet. Oh, look at that. Bonus. And I always say that when there's texture on your paper, I end up using a lot more glue, just because it's not going to, the pieces that are raised are not going to get glue on there. So I like to do a little bit extra there. All right. And then what we're going to do is we're going to cut this. This is we're going to set this aside now. This piece is 3 by 6, and we're going to cut 5/8 inch pieces out of this. And I think we only need, let's start with 2. So here's my 1/2 inch mark, and I'm going to go just to the 1/8 inch beyond that, so 5/8. And let's just cut one first and see how many of these we can get. So we're going to use our middle, and I am having you cut this just a little bit wider than what you actually need. If you cut it at a 1/2 inch, it will work. But I was afraid that because it was so narrow that you wouldn't get, it kind of rips on the edges if it doesn't have enough punching room. So we're going to go with one of these and another one of these. So we got 2 out of 1. So we're going to need to make 3 strips total, because we need 5 pieces. So we're going to go with 1/2. I want to make sure I'm in the right. I'm going to go 5/8 again, and then we'll go with 5/8 one more time. And then this piece is left over that you can use for another project. And let's keep going here with our punching. Try to make it straight in there, especially because it's plaid. You can tell if the lines don't match up right. That's probably good. And then this one. And another one. Oops, we only need 5. So this can be an extra piece for something else later too. All right, so of these 5 pieces, we're going to use 2. Let's see, pick out the ones that I like the best. I think I like those 3 work that way, and then these 2 are gonna flip over this way. So what I'm gonna do is fold them all in half the way that you like them, and we're going to go with like 1 plaid and 1 I mean, it's still a plaid, but you know, more checked than plaid, I guess. And then 1 of these, and then 1 of these. And I'm just folding them in half. It doesn't have to be totally exact, but you kind of want, I guess it does have to be exact. So I'm just kind of giving myself a guide here. Again, we're doing the method of trying to put it all together here first. So I'm going to use just a piece of Scotch tape that I, of course, forgot to grab. So let's just get the Scotch tape out here. And I'm going to go with, we're going to make a little, and flip this over. So let's cut this over here. You see what I've got going on? All right, so I've got a little bit on this side. We're just going to flip it around the back and tape it. So this is all I'm going to need. Of course, I didn't bring ribbon scissors. I need to do that. All right, and then this is going to go this way, about on the top quarter-ish. We're going to flip it over, and we're just going to tape these ends down with just a little Scotch tape. All right. And 1 more. Okay. So there's that. And it is a little bit, I'm going to want mine to be a little loose so that it can hang like the flags are actually hanging. But what I'm going to do with the rest of this piece of, and yours is probably going to be longer for sure. But what I'm going to do is tie this in a bow. And I don't want it to be too big. So let's pull it down a bit. And then that's about good. Make sure it's nice and tight. I'm going to cut off my ends a bit too. All right. Then I'm going to take a glue dot and take the paper off the glue dot. And I'm going to put the glue dot right down on the top left side, and I'm going to kind of glue the knot down, but I want the whole thing to kind of stay right here. So I put the glue dot on top of my horizontal baker's twine, and then I just glued the bow, the knot of the bow, right to it. All right, so now we're going to use a little bit of glue, and let's just start from this side because I don't care if you can do it however you like, but I'm not going to care too much if my flags don't go all the way over to my bow. So I'm going to start on the right side. I put a little bit of glue on one end, and I'm going to bring it down to the center of my fold here. All right, we're just going to do this with all of them. And at this point, they're not like spaced evenly, but I have room to move them because I didn't put the glue too high up here. So I still have room to move them around once I'm done gluing them together. I'm making sure that I'm putting them in that pattern though that I wanted, where there's 3 of one pattern and 2 of the other, and I'm alternating. And then this one. Okay. That one didn't like it. Okay, let's see here. So now I'm going to kind of space them evenly and pull them down just a bit. Actually, if I just pull one down, the rest of them will be just fine. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little dab of glue under there and pull this down where I want it. So I want it to be a little curved here. And then the rest of them will sort of just fall into place. You can choose to leave these. I think maybe I'll just leave them like this and not glue. Well, I will. I'm going to glue them down because otherwise they're going to crunch together in the mail or something. And I don't want somebody to have to figure out where they went. It'll look messy. Okay. Little glue, little glue, little glue. All right. Now this can then get glued onto our white card base, making sure, of course, that, we've got it right side up. How many times have you done that? I have done that before where I've stamped the greeting in there and everything's good. And then I put the card front on and I open it up and my greeting's on the wrong side. Yes, I have. Okay. And this, you can choose to use dimensionals on this if you want, and even on your flags if you want it, your banners if you want, but I'm going to keep mine flat just so that I don't have to pay extra postage in the mail. And this I'm lining up with the white edge here. I just love how this color, this is Lost Lagoon, but I'm just loving how this color and the brown work together. So there's our first card. Okay, so for card 2, we're going to check. Okay, so you got all these things, and of course, remember you're going to get 2 of each, right? Okay. I have it backwards, so let's just move my. There we go. Now you can see better. Okay. So this is Azure Afternoon, and so this is going to be your card base. We're making it. This one is going to be portrait. You also got a piece of the Lights of Aurora DSP with, you've gotten 2 pieces. So, okay. This is going to be the inside. So let's go ahead and stamp the inside first. And I'm using Gorgeous Grape for ink. And I'm going to use, what did I decide I was going to use? I was going to use Here's to You on one on the front. If you line this up here, it makes it a little bit easier, except they're so sticky that they stick to my fingers. So Here's to You on one side, and then I usually flip my block over, and I'm going to put Happy Birthday on the inside. All right, so let's go with the Happy Birthday. And again, I like to make sure that I stamp it. I have to pick it up and make sure it's straight because I'm sitting and I'm okay. So that's going to go on the inside. All right. And I did it wrong because I want it to go this way. Duh. All right. So here we go with our 2-sided paper. Magic paper, we like to call it. All right. So we're going to put Happy Birthday going this direction. Did I mention that I'm doing these with all of the mistakes included so that you can see how we can fix things? That was a big one there. All right, and then I'm also going to take my little strip of white that you have, and I'm going to put Here's to You on this one. And I'm going to put it right in the middle. All right. Close. Okay. I can live with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to use this this piece I'm going to have cut for you so that it will fit in here. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide it in the punch this way. And I want to make sure that it's kind of where the point here is going to be in the center of my banner here. That's close. And then we're going to turn around and do the other side. And I'm just taking off just a little bit. I'll grab that piece in a second and show you. But you can kind of see here where there's a piece in the corner there and so I'm just making sure that it just goes in enough to not have a blank. So that about that much is actually coming off of there. So then what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to line it up in here. And you can adhere this first, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to grab my scissors. Because this is a mat behind it, I'm just going to use, I'm going to put this all the way to this side. So my point is at the edge of my Gorgeous Grape cardstock, okay? And I'm making sure that it's straight here. And then I'm going to use the guide of the white to make the point there. And then I'm still holding it still and doing the same thing on this side, using the guide of my white point. And then what I'm going to do is turn it around and do the same thing on the other side, making sure it's straight, evenly spaced this way. Okay, and then again, snip there and snip there. Okay, now this should fit right in here like this. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this together for now. Because knowing me, I will then lose a piece. So here we go. It's a little bit crooked. All right. Man, I can't seem to, my hands are so dry and cold. That's it. We'll blame it on the weather. Okay. That's going to be good enough. All right. So that's going to get dimensionals. Pushing all my scraps up to the top here. All right. And then we can actually glue this inside now too. We probably could have done that before, but that's all right. Okay, there's that and that. And now with this, similarly that we did with the first card, sorry about the screech, we're going to cut this into 5 5/8" strips. So this piece is wider than in card 2 because we need 5 of these. So 1, 2, 3, 4. You know, you could just use the punch and not even cut these into strips. The reason I'm cutting them into strips in both cases is because I hate how there's so much waste. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, this, I ended up getting 6. Anyway, I hate how there's so much waste because these are so close together. So if I had, let me just show you with this one, put it this way so you can see. But if I put this in here like this, and I want that middle one, I'm wasting all of like whatever from here up. If I use the bottom one and I've got a big piece of paper in there, I'm wasting all of that too. So, I mean, unless you're going to use those for something, which, you know, definitely you could. Okay, so we're going to be using, we need 1, 2, 3 strips of one side and then 3 strips of the other side. So, and we're going to be using both. I don't want to use this dark side on mine. So I'm going to make, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we're going to be using the bottom. So let's go with 1. Try it this way. 2. And then I can get my third one out of here. 3. Not sure I'm going to use that one, or maybe I'll use the back side. We'll see. And then we're just going to keep going here. 1. Oops. I accidentally pushed it and locked it closed or something. There we go. 2. Should be able to get 3 out of each strip if you try. I don't know why this is. I must have something stuck in there. I'm not seeing it though. Okay, let's keep trying. 1. Maybe I'm not squeezing fast enough. 2. Nope, stuck again. And 3. Maybe because my pieces are small. I don't know. All right, so I need a total of 6 of the pieces that I want to use this side for. See, this is what I meant about the I think this is why I'm going to just trim these off, but that's what I meant about having, if you only use like a 1/2 inch piece to start with, this is what it was doing, which is why I originally started, when I was making samples, I originally started with just 1/2 inch strips because that's really all you need, but it wasn't, it was leaving those jagged edges and I didn't like it. All right, so I need 2, 4, 6, 2, 4, 6 of these, and then I need 2, 4 of those. So realistically, you would probably only end up having to cut 4 strips of this. I will modify the instructions. All right, so all this is left over. We needed only 4 of these. And again, I'm just going to give this a little bit of a trim. It won't show too much because we're going to overlap them a bit anyway. So, all right, so what we're going to do on the front of our card, I never used my bone folder on this. Let's get it out and do that now because it's a little bit wonky. I don't crease them for you so that you can do it yourself however you like, but I'm going to use a piece of, I'm going to kind of go like this. I should have done this with the white first. But eyeballing this here, okay, you want these pieces to slide under just a little bit, okay? And so we're going to go under from the top and under from the bottom. And you're going to alternate these with those as well. So you're going to start with a more colorful piece. I was going to use the back sides of these anyway, I think. So you're going to use the colorful piece here, and then you're going to use one on the bottom. And I'm just sort of holding this together for now. You could kind of make a little line if you want with a pencil. Let me use a ruler. And we'll just guess at kind of a center point here. It doesn't have to be right in the center either, but I want here, and then let's just go with here. And the whole reason I'm even doing this is so that that I have more flexibility with some height here. Okay, so we're going to go with one here and then one here. I'm going to put one in the middle. And then these are going to go, I want the middle one to stand like on the top. So I'm going to layer the other ones behind it a little bit. And I'm just making them however, it doesn't matter, however you want to do it. I'm making varied heights, okay? What I'm going to do is I want this to be my middle one, is going to be, trim this off a bit. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue down the center of one, okay? And I'm going to stick it right in the middle. And then I'm going to pick another center one for the bottom. Again, same thing. I'm going to put this one right at the bottom, kind of eyeballing it, but lining it up that way. There we go. And then I'm going to take, the next one is going to be the back side, and I'm going to slide this under here. So I'm going to put a strip down the middle of glue, and I'm going to slide it under, and I want it to be a little bit shorter. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom of that side, where I'm going to put this underneath and slide it down the bottom. And then we're going to go with another one on top here, and I'm going to slide this under there. And I don't have it all the way up to the top. You can make yours however you like them, for sure. So let's take one for the bottom and slide that under. I want it to be a little bit taller than the purple one here. I can move it down a little bit. When you use the liquid glue, you have that kind of control. And we're just going to keep going. Except I can't get my fingernail under there now. Okay, there we go. And then this one, they don't even have to be straight up and down. You can make them go wiggly or whatever. I'm just going to make mine go straight up and down in this one. Except for that one, apparently. Okay, let's bring this out just a bit. I don't want it to overlap too much. So, and this one's going to go up to there. And these are definitely not, they're not perfect. Turn this way so it's easier to work with. They're definitely not perfect. Not perfectly in sync. They're not perfectly aligned. And then this one is going to go pretty much back down to here. The one thing that I'm trying to make happen is that these two edges are about the same. All right, and then now this is going to go right in the middle. We're going to bring in some dimensionals. Well, maybe we only have one right here, so we'll cut these up. Do you cut your dimensionals up like this? I definitely do. And I then put that there. And you don't even have to erase your little pencil marks if you made them. Okay, and then we're going to bring in you will have gotten a whole strip of the blue with the pink, so a whole strip on this side, and then a whole strip of this side too. So I think on this card, I'm going to try to use the blue ones. This looks crooked to me. I'm going to try it again. That's better. Okay, I'm going to use the blue ones for this one. So I'm going to use, I always use my scissors. It didn't work very well, did it? I always use my scissors for some reason instead of my take your pick tool. Let's try that in a minute. Maybe it'll keep the glue on better. So we're going to put a big one here. Let's get our take your pick tool. So this is kind of a cool tool. It's got this putty end on it. And you get refills of the putty to go with it. And then, so I'm going to take this and push, and then it holds. So I pushed it off. I'll do it one more time. That goes there. And then I'm going to use one more. So I'm pushing it away from me, and then it holds it on there. And then you can just stick it on. So there's that one. Cool. All right. All right. Card 3 coming up next. Okay, so card 3 has, of course, the envelope, and this has a basic white card base. I have it scored already. We're going to do some more scoring, but I have it scored already in half so that it fits in the envelope better for mailing purposes. But we've got a piece of, this is 7 by 4, I believe. Double check. Yeah, 7 by 4 DSP. And you can decide which side you want to use, or, but anyway. Okay, and then we've got Secret C, and we've got that's interesting. Shaded spruce. That doesn't look like shaded spruce. One moment, let me check. Let's see what shaded spruce really looks like. Because it looks like pretty peacock to me. It is pretty peacock. I like that color better, so we're going to keep it with that. Okay. And then I've got some baker's twine. Anyway, I like the colors together. We're going to start with, I'm using the Lovely Stripes folder, and I want this, let's see, this card is going to go this direction, and I want my stripes to go this direction as well. So I'm going to put it in my folder this way and line it up with the line across there. Looks like it's pretty straight. And get it in my, we're using just the plate number 1 and then plate number 4 on the top is all we're using with this one. Actually, that's all we used with the first card too, and it's a little bit tough to put in there and crank it through. It's going to be tight because the folder is so thick. But wait till you see the results. If I can get it off there. It made some really heavy indentations. It's kind of cool. I think I like it this way better. So, all right, so I think we're going to glue that together like that. And then we're also using Secret Sea ink. Gosh, I just love these colors together. All right, so I'm going to glue this together for now, and then we'll set this aside. This is going to be our card base, even though it doesn't open right here. You'll see this is the Fun Fold card, which I thought was pretty fun. I think that looks okay. And again, because there's all those ridges and stuff in there, I used a little bit more glue than I would normally. All right, so then this is going to be the base. We'll come back to that in a minute. Let's bring in our trimmer to do some scoring here. So we're going to score this at, open this up. So this is actually 11 by 4 1/4. Okay. So it's already scored at the 5.5 inch mark, but your instructions will tell you to score it at 1. Make sure you don't use your cutting blade. So we're going to score it at 1. And then again at 3. And then the 5.5. And then at 8. So let's see if I can get this in the picture here. 8. All right. So then this is going to fold. This was already folded this way. So I guess they're gonna just go opposite. So you're gonna do it this way and this way and this way and this way. So every other one. All right. So however that works for you. And then it's gonna your short narrow piece is gonna be on the top. So let's close this for now. And let's get a bone folder out and give these all a crease here so it kind of stays the way we want it. Okay, then we're going to take our, here we are, because see, I already lost it. What did I do with the DSP? I showed it to you. I know it was in there. Now it's gone. That is so weird. Oh, well, okay. Let's get another one then. What one is this? Not quite long enough. Is this 4 by? That's 4. So let's cut this at 7 inches. That is so funny. I mean, it was right here, right? Did you see what I did with it? Anybody? So weird. Okay. So we're going to cut the DSP at, and I'm going to keep these in order. Let's see. Let's do it this way. See if I can keep most of that big one together. So we're going to do 3/4 of an inch. And normally I would do like my 3/4, I would do the opposite way. But because I want to keep these in order, because I would normally use like the side of my cutter to do something about an inch, 1.5 or less. But okay, so 3/4 of an inch is going to be this one. And now we're cutting this, okay? Cut that. And then I'm going to set them aside in order. And then the next one is going to be 1 3/4. And then 2 1/4. And it's not going to end up staying as together as I had hoped, that big one, but that's okay. Okay. Oh, this one is going to end up getting cut into 1 3/4 again. So let's go with 1 3/4, which leaves about 1/2 inch on the end there. All right. I should have done it the other way. That's okay. All right, so we're going to glue. Let's stamp first. So we're going to use Secret C, and we're going to use, what do we want to use? How about, I'm still loving that. I'm going to say wishing you good things on the inside. How's that? I still love that you are hugged. But okay, so wishing you good things. So we are going to stamp. This is going to go this way. So I want to stamp right here. This is where I want to stamp. You could choose to stamp on this panel too if you wanted, but I know that this piece is going to go here. So I want to kind of eyeball this up in the center. Okay. That's like all the stamping we're doing on this one. All right, so we're going to start with this piece. This is our 3/4 inch piece, and this is going to get some glue, and it's going to go on here. And I'm just sort of lining this up. So that it looks like it's got about the same border around it. And then the next piece is going to go here. And these are all going to stay the same, the same direction facing. So I'm using the white side. I love white on white. That one's going to go there, and this one's going to go next to it. And so this is why we were kind of keeping them all in order. I think this one got crooked, didn't it? A little bit. It's okay. Okay, and then this little piece. Okay, so because I did this a little bit wrong, what you should have done then was on whatever piece was left, you should have cut this 1/2 inch piece off of this side so that it would match here, okay? But I didn't, and I don't think it's really going to matter. So this is what it looks like this way. Now with the rest of this, we're going to flip this over and put it on this panel here. So then it has a little bit of that contrast going on with it. So we're going to glue the back side or the front side that we've been using, and we're going to put it on here. So then this is what it looks like. Cool, huh? All right, so before we get done going too far with this one, we're going to take, I'm using approximately, what did I write down here? 16 inches. So you'll get more than enough, but to do both of your cards. But I'm going to take this and try to even it up a bit. And we're just going to tie this into a bow. And if you're not a bow person, you could definitely tie it. You want it to open, so I guess you almost have to tie it into a bow. you have plenty. So even if you're not a big bow person, it'll still work. And then this is gonna go right on here. So we will glue this together. This is so easy, isn't it? And that's gonna go here. I like to turn it upside down and give it a good press on the back side to make sure it's adhering right where I want it. How'd that work out for me? That's hilarious. All right, let's add some more glue. That's funny. Stay right where I want it. Oh, good grief. Welcome to my world. Nothing ever works the way you want it to, especially, you're trying to do this recording and make everything as perfect for you as possible, and then it doesn't work out so well. All right. There we go. So now that's going to hold your ribbon or baker's twine in place when it gets opened up. So that's the third card. Let's go through and view them all again. This stuff out of the way. So here is card 1. And actually that was card 2. Let's try this again. Here's card 1. And here's card 2. And here's card 3. So thank you for joining me. I want to just remind you that I have posted already for next month's class, the registration on Facebook and everything else. So be sure, if you haven't already, be sure to make sure you go and register for the March class. Anything else? The events are already on Facebook. They should be by now. And all of the instructions are there. I hope you join me. If you would like to, if you're missing things on Facebook and missing my announcements and the events and stuff, make sure that you're following my page on Facebook, and that will help you to stay up to date. Thanks again for watching.